Okay, as we take a look at Dustin Johnson swing, this right after the dominant win up in Boston, 90% of the greens in regulation for the week. That was impressive. I can't remember the last time I saw somebody hit that many greens. That was truly amazing ball striking tee to greens. So looking at this swing, classic Dustin Johnson in terms of this setup, great fundamentals. You can tell the dedication to staying fit. And we know his swing has some quirks to it. Let's take a look at some of those and see what makes it all work together. Obviously this week, great rhythm, great timing, tempo, but let's take a look. So as he takes this club back, he always tends to take it a little bit outside, as you see there, gets it up on the upper plane pretty early with the left arm reaching out toward the yellow line. Some guys that might have his style of swing would swing it a little lower, but he gets it out on that upper plane and up it goes. Shaft is pretty upright at that point, and that left arm right on the upper plane. And if we look at the classic Dustin Johnson bow to left wrist, if you've ever studied his swing in the past, you certainly see that position, which creates a very strong or closed club face position, but somewhat unusual with the arm positions like that for someone who actually gets slightly lower with his body position as he goes back. So very bent forward, super tall guy. He's probably, well over 6 feet tall. So starts tall, drops down. And as he changes directions, sits in those legs, stays extremely low at the body. And in a week like this where he's rotating through with great leg work, getting the shaft right back on the plane at impact and after impact, grip of the club, the shaft, the club head still on plane after impact. You can see the ball taking off right down here. And being a power fade type of player, he can rotate through, hold off that super closed face. He doesn't have to shut it since it's already shut coming down, and then let it go through there. As long as he's staying down and turning, he's good to go. That club is going to come out and exit way left, close to the plane on this side. Face is still very square. It's a little tough to see in this video. And then really rotates it right through. Shorter iron on this one, same result. So let's take away a little outside. Left arm out on the upper plane. We're talking about upper plane as an instructor. If you draw a line up the shaft, you get the green line, call it the shaft plane line. If you draw a line from the ball sort of to the top of the shoulder on up, you get what we call the shoulder plane. And some players swing it in between those lines. More vertical players like Bubba Watson get the thing on the upper plane. But his is quite unusual for a player that gets that bent over at the top with his body, a huge wind-up, super flexible, strong player. Left arm that straight up in the air, and then still drops it back down, right down to the lower plane on the way through, which is really the way to get, just amazing control of the club face. You have a slower rate of closure coming through. If he's in this position with good rhythm, it's all over for the rest of the field that week. The only thing that really costs him is if his rhythm gets quick, something changes in his concentration or routine to where he just loses some of that tempo and rhythm. But when that rhythm is like this and he has that club, you can see the grip. It's a little blurry, but you can see that grip in his hands right on the plane after impact. That thing comes around. That's Jim Furyk-esque. That's really on plane. And that ball will be under control all week with that kind of move. If we look at the power aspect of his swing, as he winds this up, makes a huge shoulder turn and a big hip turn. He is really wound. You can see that. He makes this power move as he sits down. Everything gets lower. His body gets lower. His legs completely solid right there. I mean, that's like a baseball player. That's really incredibly athletic move at that point. And then it starts to rotate out of the way. That could be a power hitter in baseball all day long right there. One thing you'll see too, that as he starts down, because the body's doing the bulk of the work and he's sitting in his legs, his left arm stays stuck to his chest a long time on the way down. If he was pulling hard with his arms or being armsy, you would see these arms start to pull off the chest and start to fly out in front of the body, which for a rotator is a big problem. So as he's got that great rhythm working, his arms are just waiting and waiting and waiting. There you can see the arm across the chest once again, like a baseball player. And that opens up, the club releases. You see, he was flying the ball 300 yards with what looked like no effort. So that was amazing to watch, but you can see super athletic player, maybe the most athletic player on tour. Super flexible, super strong. Great model to watch if you're trying to work on some speed, work on some power. That you do not have to use your arms to try to flail at the ball in order to create that speed. One last look at the swing from this view, slightly off down the line view, really to show ball flight here as much as anything else. And we know from seeing the other videos that the plane of the club, fantastic through impact this week as he stays so in that posture. You know, if you were to see at this point his head rising up out of that circle, that might be a trouble week for him, but he is right there. And now to hit his cut, since he's swinging hard left and the face doesn't have to close, he doesn't have to flip at it with his hands or anything, he can just bring the club around to the left, let it release through on this side, and that will create his fade all day long. And I'm sure he just felt incredible this week in terms of control. If you watch the tracker of this ball, perfect left to right, shape to it, which is really the preferred flight for players that play the way he does. He can hit draws, but under control and under pressure, it's going to be a fade all day long. Of course, when it is your week, you'll even make giant sweeping putts like this one where he's having to aim way out here on a 12-foot putt. And then watch that thing curl all the way back into the left. And that's what happens when it's your week. Okay, well, that'll wrap it up for this video. Thanks again for watching. If it's your first time to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos. And we'll see you in the next one.